Have you ever stopped and wondered why you feel guilt after doing something wrong, even when no one else knows? Or why certain memories, dreams, or fears keep resurfacing, as if they live in the shadows of your mind? Inside every human being, there are two mysterious forces that shape our lives more than we realize: the conscience and the subconscious mind. The conscience whispers what's right and wrong. It is the moral compass of the soul. The subconscious, on the other hand, is the vast ocean beneath the surface of our thoughts, a place where memories, emotions, and patterns dwell silently, influencing nearly everything we do. This is the story of how these two forces define who we are, guiding our choices, shaping our dreams, and building the invisible architecture of the human mind. Let us journey into the depths of human consciousness to understand how the conscience keeps us human, and how the subconscious silently molds our reality. The word conscience comes from the Latin conscientia, meaning knowledge within. It is that inner awareness that tells us what's right, what's wrong, and what's fair. Every human being, no matter their culture or religion, feels its voice, that subtle pull toward moral truth. Philosophers like Immanuel Kant called the conscience a divine lawgiver within. He believed it is what makes morality possible, a sense of duty that exists beyond reason or desire. Religions describe it differently but point to the same truth. In Christianity, it's the voice of God in the heart. In Islam, it's the nafs al-lawwama, the self-reproaching soul that feels guilt when doing wrong. So what really is the conscience? It's not simply logic or emotion. It's a fusion of both. It's that deep knowing that arises from the union of reason and empathy. When you help someone in need and feel peace, that's your conscience rewarding you. When you lie and feel restless, that's your conscience guiding you back to truth. Yet, our conscience can be shaped. Our upbringing, culture, and experiences form the voice we hear inside. A child raised in cruelty may silence their inner voice early. A person trained in empathy may hear it loudly. So the conscience is both universal and personal. It's a light that exists in everyone, but how brightly it shines depends on how we nurture it. Now, let's dive deeper, below the surface, into the subconscious mind. Imagine your mind as an iceberg. The visible tip above water is your conscious mind, your thoughts, decisions, and awareness. But below the waterline lies the vast, unseen mass, the subconscious, containing 90% of your mental activity. Everything you've ever seen, felt, or heard is stored there. Every word you've spoken, every emotion you've suppressed, every pattern you've repeated, all live quietly beneath your awareness. The subconscious doesn't reason. It records and reacts. It takes in data from the conscious mind, shapes habits, triggers emotions, and influences how we behave, often without our knowing it. When you automatically tie your shoes, drive a car, or flinch at a loud sound, it's your subconscious at work. When you dream, it's the subconscious expressing itself in symbols. Sigmund Freud compared it to a deep cave, filled with forgotten desires, fears, and unresolved conflicts. Carl Jung went further. He believed the subconscious connects us to something greater, a collective unconscious shared by all humanity, where universal symbols and archetypes live. Your subconscious is the engine room of your personality. It controls your heartbeat, digestion, and even your stress levels. But more profoundly, it shapes your self-image, your sense of who you are. If your subconscious mind holds beliefs like, "I'm not good enough," it will silently create a life that matches that belief. If it holds faith, hope, and love, you'll naturally act in ways that reflect those. The subconscious does not distinguish between truth and falsehood. It believes whatever it's told repeatedly. That's why affirmations, visualization, and mindfulness can reprogram it. In short, the subconscious mind is not your enemy or your slave. It's your most loyal servant, but only if you learn to guide it. At first glance, the conscience and the subconscious seem very different. One is moral, the other mechanical. But they are deeply interconnected. Think of the subconscious as the soil, and the conscience as the seed of morality planted within it. If the soil is polluted by trauma, guilt, or fear, the moral seed struggles to grow. If it's nurtured by love, awareness, and reflection, the conscience becomes strong and clear. Every time you ignore your conscience, the subconscious records that act and normalizes it. Lie once, and your conscience protests. Lie often enough, and the subconscious rewires itself, until guilt disappears. This is how corruption, cruelty, or addiction often begin. Not in sudden evil, but in small repeated choices that reshape the subconscious and silence the conscience. Conversely, when we practice honesty, kindness, and compassion, our subconscious strengthens those pathways. Virtue becomes habit. Goodness becomes instinct. The relationship between the conscience and subconscious is like that of a teacher and a student. The conscience teaches moral truth. The subconscious learns through repetition and emotion. Together, they create our character, our invisible moral architecture. Modern neuroscience confirms what philosophers only imagined centuries ago. The brain is an incredible network of conscious and subconscious processes. Studies using brain scans reveal that our decisions are made milliseconds before we consciously realize them. This means that our subconscious is already guiding actions before thought catches up. Habits, fears, and desires live in neural pathways, formed by repeated behaviors. The more we repeat an act or thought, the stronger that pathway becomes. That's why breaking a bad habit feels hard. You're not fighting logic, you're rewiring your brain. Sleep, meditation, and creativity all draw heavily from the subconscious. During dreams, the brain organizes memories, releases repressed emotions, and sometimes offers insight that logic alone can't provide. Psychologists have also found that the subconscious processes up to 20,000 bits of information per second, while the conscious mind can handle only about 40. So when you get a gut feeling, it's not magic. It's your subconscious connecting hidden data faster than your conscious can reason. This is why artists, inventors, and philosophers often rely on intuition. It's the subconscious speaking, a deeper wisdom that blends experience, emotion, and stored memory. But the same power can trap us. Unresolved trauma or fear can program the subconscious to keep us anxious or self-destructive. That's why therapy, mindfulness, and spiritual reflection are so powerful. They bring the hidden mind into light. In an age where we're flooded with distractions and moral confusion, our conscience can grow faint. We often silence it in the name of ambition, comfort, or pride. But deep down, the voice never fully dies. It waits for us to listen again. Awakening the conscience means returning to the center of who we are. It means asking, what kind of person am I becoming? Do my choices reflect my deepest values? When conscience and subconscious align, when moral clarity meets emotional harmony, a person lives in peace. They act not out of guilt or compulsion, but out of integrity. Great leaders and saints throughout history shared this harmony. They didn't just think rightly, they felt rightly. Their subconscious was purified by truth, and their conscience illuminated their path. Each of us can cultivate that harmony through reflection, meditation, and honest living. Listening to the quiet voice of the conscience and feeding the subconscious with positive thought can transform our inner world, and through it, the outer one. So, what does it mean to truly know yourself? It means to journey inward, to understand both the voice that guides you and the ocean that carries you. Your conscience is the compass pointing north, toward truth and love. Your subconscious is the ship's engine, powerful, but needing direction. If you silence your conscience, the engine runs wild. If you ignore your subconscious, the compass points nowhere. Together they form the full map of the human mind. To master them, we must practice awareness. Pause before reacting. Question your impulses. Feed your mind with beauty, honesty, and gratitude. When you make peace between these two, when your conscience leads and your subconscious follows, life becomes balanced, purposeful, and free. In the end, the greatest discovery is not in the stars, but within ourselves. To understand the conscience and the subconscious is to touch the essence of what it means to be human. In the silence of your mind, there is a dialogue happening every moment, between what you know and what you feel, between your moral truth and your hidden drives. Your conscience is the guardian of your soul. Your subconscious is the architect of your destiny. Both are gifts, but they demand awareness. Listen to your inner voice. Feed your inner mind with light, and you'll find that peace is not something you seek. It is something you awaken. Because the greatest revolution begins not in the world around us, but in the unseen world within. Subscribe for more deep dive explainers.